to do things better and access things that they usually would access. And one of those key things is education. So first, how much has education changed since the coronavirus?
Oh, thank you, Desmond. Really, everything, we are in unprecedented times, right? So everything has definitely changed. And even after the whole lockdown or the coronavirus is over and things are starting to get back to normal, I believe that the way we see, the way we live life, the way we do things will generally be different from the way it is. And I feel like more companies, more individuals generally are more tuned to embracing technology more, because this period has kind of forced everybody to look in that direction, right? So I feel that that is going to continue. I think that it will give rise to different platforms, people doing things smarter, people doing things, looking at different ways to cut costs and do things smarter and leverage the technology better. That's why I think that would really affect how we do things, even going forward post COVID-19.
Virtual learning for a lot of people is new. And I had a conversation with a parent last weekend. And the parent said, my child is 2 years old. So let's talk about virtual learning. I can't afford thousands that I pay on the normal for this child to learn virtually. So have you handled that reception how's the reception been first to this new technology, people learning virtually?
So I think that most for people it's a huge change, right? It's something that they're getting used to, right? But I think that the adoption has been great, actually. People are finding different platforms to get things going. A lot of this learning, some people even go as far as using WhatsApp groups to learn, or communicate learning content and all that. So people are looking for different platforms. I think that, like you said earlier, the fact that nobody had a choice, right? So, and we couldn't just not learn anymore, right? So that forced people to really go ahead and try to look at how to make things work. And there are a lot of technology and a lot of platforms out there that already existed pre COVID-19, right? But what this just made people do was to give those platforms a chance and then embrace it better. There are a lot of tools out there, but not all of them nobody foresaw this. So not all of them are geared towards virtual learning, right? So, but people are just making use of the tools that they're familiar with. So what we are building is a platform that makes it possible for your learning experience to be really seamless. That's kind of simulates your actual classroom, right? So it's not a totally different experience for you, the person learning, and even for the teacher trying to teach, right? So again, the other thing we find out that it's kind of, because it's new, you're not used to it, so it takes a lot of getting used to, and people cannot spend like long hours listening. Like if you're having a physical lecture, you could go, a period could be like 30 to 45 minutes, right? But when it's not physical, the attention span is not that long, right? So those are some of the things that we build into it, so that it's kind of a little bit more fun, it's more engaging, and it's not just like somebody that just push content and you're just watching.
How so? How do you mean? What are some of the things that you adopted to ensure that this is fun? Because one of the key things that a lot of people do not realize, because the pressure for virtual learning, why lots of parents are pushing back against it, is the pressure. It comes back to the parents, because the parents has to be at home, spend their data, ensure that the child is seated in front of the screen to learn. So you've done your part to create that technology to also provide that platform. So how do you ensure that parents buy in and it's also engaging for the kids? and make the work of the parents easier.
You're totally right, right? It comes back to the parents at the end of the day, right? They kind of have to provide like a support system, right? And holding for their child, and just to ensure that the child is really learning, right? So I think that for now there's a lot of buy-in from parents. Maybe it's because they don't have a choice. Maybe it's because the schools mandated them to use some of these platforms, right? So the school is sending you content. You cannot slap up and not let your child and not ensure that your child is following and keeping up to date with his classmates. So I think that part of it, parents have come to terms with that, right? Because learning in itself is not just the fact that somebody's talking to you, right? It's beyond that. There's the whole, you are in there with other classmates, there's kind of like an interaction, even though it might not be like it's subtle kind of in a kind of way. And that's like what people think gets lost when you're doing virtual learning, right? Because it feels like I'm just me trying to learn by myself. If I'm tired, I probably will sleep off or something like that. So I think that rethinking the whole process around how we build technologies for virtual learning and trying to think about inculcating, even though we might not be able to inculcate the whole physical interaction that happen. I think that if we think in these terms of how can we make this fun, how can we make it such that it's not tedious for users. If you think of all the technology, all the apps that people use, right? It's because you want to keep coming back to it, right? So that's the key thing that makes people come back to this technology. So I feel that when we are building solutions around virtual learning, that needs to be part of our thinking. And that is one of the key things that we have been working on. The Slate app. Slate, basically Slate, right? The app itself is called Slate, or if you want to look it up, it's the Slate app.
So is it accessible to parents? How does it work? Is it that the school uploads their curriculum there? It's a platform that teachers and schools have to put their content on there, or it's a platform that is built that you can self-learn on that platform? You can self-learn.
Okay, so thank you, Desmond. So what we've done is we interact directly with the school, right? Okay. So the school, we onboard the school, right? So when we onboard the school, we basically create all the classes that the school has. We create that on the platform. So what really happens is that every class is created on the platform. Every student is already in your class. So if you as a teacher logs in, you already see all your students in your class. If the student logs in, he's already immediately in the class, right? So we go from top down. So the school comes on board, then the classes are created, then the teacher just gets his login detail and is logging it into his or our class. That's the way we built it.
So it's a collaborative app.
Yes.
From you guys at Slate with schools.
Exactly.
I love it.
At the end of the day, we are not educators, right? We are technology guys. So if we want to do anything around education, right, we cannot remove the schools. They are the educators. They are the ones that understand learning in itself, right? So we have to do it in a partnership with them.
Right. So how's the reception been for schools? Because I remember having a conversation with somebody who's an educator, and the person said this virtual learning has caused some form of inequality or in the educational system, because what happens to the child who in the public school whose parents cannot afford to pay for the child to learn virtual? So how affordable? Because that's, at the end of the day, you guys are just developers, and I don't think that you guys are just creating solutions to a problem. Yeah. So How have you guys made it affordable to your collaborators, who in turn now are able to minimize cost for parents, so that they can access this service?
So thank you, Desmond. So what we've done, right, is because like you said, nobody foresaw this COVID-19. Nobody foresaw this lockdown. So pre the lockdown, our app is a paid app, right? But we looked at it that a lot of people are going through people could not go to work. Some people are even getting laid off. Some people are being paid half salary. So we feel that these are difficult times, right? So as a company, we feel like as a social responsibility, what we are doing is, for now, we've made the app free. So nobody has to pay for now. Any school that is coming on board is coming on board for free till foreseeable future, till after the lockdown period, till schools are allowed to open up again, right?
You guys do not want to make money from the platform?
We will make money, because what we are building is still going to be relevant post COVID-19, right? So we're looking at it like, as in this period, this as our own contribution. Let's do this, and we're opening it up beyond Nigeria. Before the lockdown, our focus had been Nigeria. We've been talking with a lot of schools in Nigeria, but even now we feel like there's an urgent need for this, and we are opening up even to Africa. We're having a French version of the app also going to the Play Store, and so that even countries that are not English speaking, they can use it. So that for now we're making it free. Let everybody, because people need to learn, right?
I like it, which brings me to, I feel more collaboration. What are your thoughts about collaboration with the government? Because the government have access to public schools, and now that it's free, it's easier for
There are discussions going on currently with the government around how to go about, should I say regulating, or I think the word is regulating that space, because at the end of the day, there's the whole thing about curriculum, there's a lot of conversation going on around there. I feel that there will be a conclusion to that. I feel that this is here to stay. I think that more people are going to be open to this, because it's something we've been singing and hammering on for years, but I think that the reality has dawned on a lot of people, and I think that more people will start to embrace this. And I also believe more products, more platforms will come up that will also make things easier and better. So I honestly feel that this is here to stay. There's a future in this. More people will start getting degrees online, because it's actually cheaper. It's cheaper than actually running a physical school and getting a deficit. It is cheaper, right, at the end of the day. So I feel like this is something that more people will embrace.
All right, thank you so much, Yanmife Ojo, for joining us from Slate EduTech. And thank you so much for the work you're doing with your platform and making it free for now, because everybody's trying to for every person who's a business who's in the business, they're trying to create solutions and make money from it. But now you're trying to also help out with this platform. Thank you so much.